Practice page for section 8.4, rectangles, rhombi, and squares. Identify each parallelogram as a rectangle, a rhombus, a square, or none of these. So they're automatically telling you that these are parallelograms. We have opposite sides congruent here. We don't have right angles. All of the sides aren't congruent, so this is just a parallelogram. Plain old, ordinary parallelogram. This parallelogram is a rhombus because all four sides are congruent. This parallelogram is also a rhombus. All four sides are congruent. It's also a rectangle because all four angles are right angles. So we call those shapes squares. Next section down, numbers 4 through 8, we're using this picture. So it's important to identify what type of shape this is. I know what you want to say it looks like, but look for the markings. This is definitely a parallelogram because the opposite sides are congruent. Furthermore, all of the sides are congruent, so it's a rhombus. It's a rhombus that has four right angles, so it's also a rectangle. So this shape is a square, most specifically. And the things we know about squares, I'll put the angle measures in first because these are always these numbers for squares. Those angles right there are 90. These angles in the corners are 90. And those 90-degree angles get split into 45-degree angles. So if you're not up to date on your square info, but you're cool with triangles, notice there's four right isosceles triangles here, and they're congruent to each other. That's what a square is. Four congruent right isosceles triangles. Okay, last things. We know this distance, this is S to T, is 9. So then all of these lengths are 9. So T to Q, that's what they're asking you for in that first question. It's 9. Whatever that unit is that they're using. In fact, they only ask you for lengths. They didn't even ask you for any angle measures. Okay, but all the answers are there for you. Next section down, 9 through 14, let's talk about this shape. The opposite sides are congruent, so it's a parallelogram. Actually, all the sides are congruent. So this is a rhombus. It's not a rectangle because these angles aren't marked as 90. So we're going to handle this as just being a rhombus. Remember, in a rhombus, those four angles match. These are 59-degree angles. Also, since it's a rhombus, you know that these four angles are 90. So that makes these guys 31 degrees. 31 and 59 add up to 90. And that's how many degrees were left there. Those are your angle measures. Now the other information you can figure out would be, well, they're telling you E to C is 12, so A to E is also 12. And we're talking about centimeters here. Okay, so they do ask you this one question about the distance from A to C. That's a diagonal. It's 12 and 12. So it's 24 centimeters. We'll do an angle together. Measure of angle BCE. Here's B, here's C, here's E. Angle BCE is 31 degrees.